he seemed to be positing that consciousness itself is outside of space and time, but somehow the brain is able to interact with this, what you might call the non-local domain.
It begins with a mystery, a man who vanished without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of his revolutionary ideas. Jacobo Grinberg, a psychologist and mystic, believed there was a secret map linking the mind and the cosmos, a hidden network we all have the power to access, but before he could fully unveil his theories, he disappeared. What powerful truth did he discover that led to this fate? Your brain is a gateway. Imagine for a moment that your brain isn't just an organ inside your skull. What if it's a bridge, an open gateway between the tangible world you see and the infinite universe beyond? Grinberg thought so. He studied ancient wisdom, blending it with modern science to uncover what he called the field. This wasn't just an abstract idea. To Grinberg, the field was real, a boundless connection where thoughts, emotions, and energies flowed freely between all things. In his studies of shamanic traditions, Grinberg found parallels to quantum physics. Shamans spoke of a web connecting all existence, much like physicists described the quantum field. They believed that through rituals and deep states of consciousness, they could tap into this universal network, influencing not only their own reality, but the realities of others. Grinberg saw these practices as evidence that our brains are capable of far more than we've been led to believe. Think of your mind like a radio. Most of the time we're tuned into a single station, our everyday thoughts, emotions, and sensory experiences. But what if you could change the frequency? What if, by shifting your awareness, you could pick up signals from the vastness of the universe? Grinberg's research suggested this wasn't just a metaphor. Through meditation, visualization, and other practices, he believed we could retune our mental frequencies to connect with the field. Grinberg's fascination with the connection between the brain and the universe wasn't just theoretical. He conducted experiments to prove his ideas, one of which became known as the Synchronicity Lab. In these experiments, two people who had meditated together for hours were placed in separate rooms. When one was shown an image designed to provoke a strong emotional response, the other's brainwaves reflected the same reaction, even though they had no direct communication. This suggested something extraordinary. Our minds might be interconnected in ways that transcend space and time. Indigenous teachings often describe the earth, the stars, and all living beings as threads in an intricate web of life. Grinberg's work seemed to echo these age-old beliefs, but with the added weight of modern scientific inquiry. We carry the universe within. Jacobo Grinberg's ideas didn't exist in a vacuum. They were part of a much larger conversation that mystics and seekers have been having for centuries. One of the most fascinating figures who mirrors Grinberg's teachings is the 13th century Persian poet and mystic Rumi. While their lives were separated by centuries and continents, their messages about the connection between the mind and the universe seemed to echo one another. Rumi believed that the universe was not something outside of us, but something we carried within. He wrote, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop." This idea wasn't just poetic, it was revolutionary. It challenged the notion that we are small and separate, instead offering the truth that we are vast and interconnected. Much like Grinberg, Rumi saw the human soul as a doorway to something infinite, something boundless. Imagine yourself standing under a night sky filled with stars. You might feel tiny, almost insignificant compared to the vastness of it all. But what if the stars weren't just above you? What if they were within you, their light, a reflection of your own? Rumi's poetry invites us to see ourselves this way, and Grinberg's teachings give us the tools to explore that connection scientifically and spiritually. Rumi also spoke of the heart as the center of this connection. To him, the heart wasn't just an organ pumping blood, it was a compass pointing toward the truth. He urged his followers to listen to the heart, to trust its wisdom, because it spoke the language of the universe. Similarly, Grinberg's experiments with meditation and mindfulness sought to bypass the noisy, logical mind and tap into this deeper, more intuitive part of ourselves. One of Rumi's most famous stories is about a man searching for treasure. In the tale, the man dreams of riches buried in a faraway land. He journeys across deserts and mountains, facing countless challenges, only to discover that the treasure he sought was buried under his own home all along. This story resonates deeply with Grinberg's work. He believed that the answers we seek, whether they're about love, purpose, or the nature of reality, aren't somewhere out there. They're within us, waiting to be uncovered. Like Grinberg, Rumi saw life as more than a series of random events. He believed that everything, no matter how small, was part of a divine plan. He wrote, "Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one to come?" These words echo Grinberg's teachings about trusting in the universe's timing and recognizing that challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. Both Rumi and Grinberg also spoke of the power of surrender. Not the kind of surrender that makes you give up, but the kind that allows you to let go of control and trust in something greater. For Rumi, this meant dissolving into the divine love that connects everything. For Grinberg, it meant aligning your thoughts and intentions with the field, allowing its energy to guide your life. Perhaps the most striking similarity between these two visionaries is their insistence that this connection isn't reserved for the chosen few. It's not just for mystics, scientists, or poets, it's for everyone. Rumi urged people to dance, to sing, to open their hearts, and to experience the divine in their everyday lives. Grinberg encouraged us to meditate, focus, and understand that every thought and feeling shapes our world. Together, their messages form a kind of bridge between the ancient and the modern, the mystical and the scientific. They remind us that we are not isolated beings wandering through an empty universe. Instead, we are luminous threads in a grand tapestry, each one essential, each one connected. As we continue to explore Jacobo Grinberg's hidden lectures, let Rumi's wisdom linger in your heart. The words of one may inspire you, but the teachings of both can guide you toward an experience of the universe that is profoundly personal and universally true. The journey isn't about learning something new, it's about remembering what you've always known deep down, that you are already part of something infinite. The primary matrix. What made Grinberg's work especially fascinating was his assertion that the brain acts as a bridge between the material world and the primary matrix. His research on brain activity revealed that human consciousness isn't isolated within our skulls. Instead, it extends outward, interacting with the matrix in ways that could alter our reality. Grinberg's experiments with electroencephalograms, EEGs, sought to understand how thought patterns and brain waves could synchronize with this cosmic framework. He believed that when the mind achieves coherence, states of profound focus, meditation, or even ritual, it taps into the vast possibilities of the matrix. He also observed how specific brainwave patterns corresponded to heightened states of awareness. He postulated that in these states the brain became more coherent, enhancing its ability to interact with the hyperfield. More on that later. This coherence could explain the profound experiences reported in deep meditation rituals or even spontaneous moments of insight. This theory is a daring exploration of the unseen forces that bind us to the universe. He described the primary matrix as the underlying fabric of existence, a realm where all reality originates, interconnected yet intangible. This matrix isn't just a backdrop for life, it's alive, dynamic, and deeply intertwined with human consciousness. Grinberg proposed that our perception of reality is not passive. Instead, our minds actively shape and co-create the world within this field of infinite potential. This idea was not merely theoretical for Grinberg. His investigations led him into the world of shamanism and witchcraft, where ancient traditions seemed to align with his findings. Shamans, he observed, were masters at navigating the primary matrix. Their rituals, chants, and altered states of consciousness allowed them to access this hidden realm, heal the sick, and interact with energies that modern science struggles to explain. For Grinberg, shamans weren't just performing symbolic acts. They were manipulating the very fabric of reality through their deep connection to the matrix. The mysteries of witchcraft. Witchcraft, in Grinberg's view, was another doorway into the same mysterious field. He explored how practitioners of the craft used intention, visualization, and ritual to channel energy. Much like shamans, they seemed to draw upon the primary matrix to bring about tangible changes in their environment. Grinberg was particularly intrigued by how both shamans and witches often described their practices in terms that mirrored his scientific hypotheses, terms like energy flows, fields, and connections. Shamans, according to Grinberg, acted as mediators between the visible and invisible worlds. Through altered states of consciousness, induced by drumming, fasting, or psychoactive plants, they entered a heightened awareness where the distinctions between self and other, or physical and non-physical, dissolved. Grinberg theorized that in these states, the brain's neural fields became coherent and resonated with the broader hyperfield, enabling shamans to perform what appeared to be miraculous acts, such as remote healing or foreseeing future events. For example, the use of symbolic objects in witchcraft, like candles, herbs, or sigils, could be seen as tools for amplifying intention. Grinberg argued that these objects acted as focal points for the practitioner's consciousness, enabling them to interact more effectively with the invisible fields of energy. This alignment could then influence the material world, shaping events or outcomes in ways that defied conventional understanding. One of the stories Grinberg often shared involved a shaman performing a ritual that left witnesses astounded. In this ritual, the shaman entered a trance-like state, their body seemingly animated by a force greater than themselves. As the room fell into silence, participants reported a palpable shift in the atmosphere. The air grew heavy, charged with unseen energy, as if the space itself was bending to the shaman's will. Then came the extraordinary moment. The shaman began recounting intimate details about the lives of those present, events they had never shared with anyone. One participant recalled the shaman describing a deeply personal loss, an event so private it felt impossible for anyone else to know. Another said the shaman spoke of a decision they had been agonizing over for weeks, offering insights that felt as though they came from a higher plane of understanding. For Grinberg, this was not a parlor trick. He observed the shaman's demeanor, the precision of their words, and the emotional reactions of the participants. He believed the shaman had accessed the primary matrix, retrieving information not through guessing or deduction, but by connecting directly to the energetic fabric of reality. Shamans often described this matrix as alive, pulsating with currents of information and energy. They didn't just observe it, they claimed to enter it, to feel its flow, and to bend its threads to their will. Through their rituals, chants, and altered states of consciousness, they could read this energy field like an open book. For Grinberg, this wasn't mysticism. It was a profound skill born from thousands of years of spiritual practice, one he believed held clues to the true nature of reality. One shaman told Grinberg that the matrix wasn't separate from the self, it was both the observer and the observed. This interconnectedness is precisely what allows shamans to tap into their vast reservoir of knowledge, revealing truths and possibilities hidden to the average person. For Grinberg, this was a revelation. If the brain's neural fields could resonate with the primary matrix, then perhaps every human had the latent ability to do the same. Shamans didn't just claim to read the matrix, they believed they could influence it. Grinberg listened to stories of rituals designed to heal the sick, protect communities, or even alter the course of future events. Another shaman explained that the matrix was like clay, capable of being molded by focused intention and energy. Through rituals involving chanting, symbolic objects, and heightened states of awareness, they could rewrite sections of the matrix to align with their desired outcomes. In one particularly striking account, Grinberg witnessed a ritual in which the shaman claimed to cure an illness that had baffled doctors. The ritual involved rhythmic drumming, precise movements, and the use of herbs. As the ritual progressed, the patient reported feeling a warmth spreading through their body, a sensation they described as both comforting and transformative. Days later, their symptoms began to fade, leaving medical professionals unable to explain the sudden recovery. Grinberg saw this as more than folklore or coincidence. He theorized that the shaman's intention, amplified through ritual and their deep connection to the matrix, had influenced the patient's neural fields. This, in turn, resonated with the matrix to produce tangible changes in the physical body. It wasn't magic, it was the mind harnessing the limitless potential of the universe. What sets Grinberg's approach apart is his fusion of modern neuroscience with these ancient practices. He didn't dismiss shamanism or witchcraft as superstition. Instead, he saw them as sophisticated methods of engaging with the same universal forces that his EEG machines hinted at. This was revolutionary. It suggested that the mystical and the scientific were not separate, but two languages describing the same truth. Grinberg's findings challenge us to see the world differently. If the primary matrix is real, then our thoughts, emotions, and intentions have a profound influence on reality. This means we are not passive observers of life, but active participants, capable of shaping our destinies by aligning with this universal field. Shamanic journeys and witchcraft rituals, rather than relics of the past, become tools for navigating the deep currents of existence. By merging neuroscience, shamanism, and the mysteries of witchcraft, Jacobo Grinberg left us with a profound question. What could we achieve if we fully embraced our ability to connect with the primary matrix? The answer lies not just in the mind, but in the heart of who we are, creators in a vast, interconnected cosmos. The nature of neural fields. It was thanks to this research that Grinberg arrived at the concept of neural fields. This was a bold step into the unknown, a glimpse into how the brain might operate not only as an individual processor of reality, but as a participant in an invisible network connecting all living beings. He proposed that the brain, through its vast number of neural interactions, generate fields of energy, what he termed neural fields. These fields, he suggested, are not confined to the physical boundaries of the brain, but extend outward, influencing the structure of space itself. Grinberg believed these neural fields could transmit information between individuals, forming what he called the hyperfield. This hyperfield acts as a collective network, linking consciousness across time and space. Imagine your thoughts and emotions resonating in a shared space, subtly influencing and being influenced by others, even without direct communication. This silent, unseen connection could explain phenomena like intuition, shared experiences, and even a collective sense of understanding among groups. His fascination with shamanism and witchcraft tied seamlessly into this vision. He viewed their practices as techniques for aligning the mind with the neural and hyperfields, enabling practitioners to influence not just their own reality, but the shared web of existence. For instance, a shaman's chant or a witch's spell might seem like superstition to the uninitiated, but Grinberg argued these acts were deliberate methods for focusing neural energy, syncing it with the hyperfield, and channeling it to manifest change. This reframes these practices not as superstitions, but as early explorations of the mind's untapped potential. Our every thought leaves an imprint in the hyperfield. The primary matrix, as a living web of energy, wasn't something out there. It was within us, around us, and inseparable from our very being. Grinberg's findings pushed the boundaries of what we consider possible. If neural fields and the hyperfields are real, then every thought, every emotion, and every interaction leaves an imprint on this vast network. This realization shifts how we view our relationships, our influence on others, and even our impact on the broader universe. It means that even in our quietest moments, we are never truly alone. We are constantly participating in a grand, interconnected dance of consciousness. But with this profound insight comes responsibility. If our minds shape and are shaped by this collective field, then the quality of our thoughts and intentions matters more than we realize. Grinberg's work invites us to cultivate mindfulness, empathy, and a deeper understanding of our role in the cosmic web. By doing so, we not only elevate our own experience, but contribute positively to the shared reality of all beings. Implications for modern science and spirituality. The shaman's abilities, Grinberg believed, were not exclusive to them, but were skills anyone could develop with the right discipline and awareness. These practices held the potential to unlock humanity's latent powers, enabling us to heal, grow, and shape our reality in profound ways. These traditions, Grinberg believed, preserved knowledge that modern science was only beginning to approach. They demonstrated that the mind is not confined to the brain, but is part of a vast, interconnected web of energy and information. While Grinberg's findings were often met with skepticism, they opened the door to new ways of thinking about the power of consciousness. His work challenged us to reconsider the boundaries between science and spirituality, and to explore how ancient practices might offer insights into the mysteries of existence. This idea that we are co-creators of our reality was both empowering and humbling. Grinberg often reflected on how modern society had lost touch with these ancient practices, dismissing them as superstition. Yet, as his research showed, there was a deep wisdom in these traditions, a knowledge that could transform our understanding of the universe and our place within it. And thanks to this research, Grinberg arrived to his theory of synergy, one of his most groundbreaking contributions. The theory of synergy. According to Grinberg, the universe is not a fixed, immutable structure. Instead, it is a continuous space of energy, a fluid, ever-changing field that underpins all existence. What we experience as reality, he argued, is not a direct interaction with this energy, but a creation of our brains. This idea places the mind at the very center of how we construct and navigate the world. Grinberg believed that the brain is far more than a biological organ. It is, in essence, an interpreter of the primary matrix, a vast field of energy and information that exists beyond our sensory perceptions. The brain's neural activity, in his view, doesn't merely respond to stimuli from the external world. Instead, it actively converts the energy of the matrix into something we can comprehend: sensations, thoughts, emotions, and the physical forms we recognize as reality. This transformation begins with what Grinberg called the energetic field of the brain. This field, generated by the brain's neural activity, doesn't stay confined to the skull. It extends outward, interacting with the energy of the matrix. In this interaction, the brain pulls in raw data, pure potential, and organizes it into structured experiences. Everything we see, touch, hear, and feel is not just out there, waiting to be perceived. It is co-created by the brain and the energetic matrix. Grinberg's theory flips traditional notions of reality on their head. Instead of assuming the universe exists as a separate objective entity, synergy suggests that reality is a co-creation between the brain and the primary matrix. The shapes, colors, and sounds we perceive are not universal truths, but interpretations shaped by our neural fields. Imagine reality as a canvas of raw energy. The brain acts as both the brush and the artist, painting the picture we experience. However, this picture is not static. It changes as our brain evolves, as we gain new perspectives, and as our energetic fields interact with those of others. This idea has profound implications. If reality is not fixed but created, then it can also be altered. By understanding and training our minds, we might learn to shape our experiences more consciously, much like the shamans Grinberg studied, who claimed to influence the matrix through rituals and intention. One of the fascinating aspects of Grinberg's synergy theory is the idea that the brain's energetic field doesn't operate in isolation. Instead, it connects and interacts with the fields of other brains, creating a shared hyperfield. This shared hyperfield allows for communication and influence beyond conventional means. For example, Grinberg proposed that telepathic phenomena, often dismissed as pseudoscience, could be explained through the interaction of energetic fields. If two individuals' brains are sufficiently attuned, their fields might overlap, enabling the transfer of information without the need for physical signals. This notion ties back to his observations of shamans. Their ability to perceive details about others' lives or to read the energy of a room might stem from an enhanced ability to connect with and interpret this shared field. Grinberg believed this wasn't an anomaly, but a skill that could be developed with practice and awareness. Grinberg's synergy theory also sheds light on his studies of shamanic and magical practices. Shamans often described reality as a malleable construct, something they could reshape through their connection to the energetic web. This aligns perfectly with synergy's assertion that the matrix is a field of pure potential, waiting to be molded by intention and energy. Remember that Grinberg mostly observed that rituals, chants, and altered states of consciousness seem to amplify the brain's energetic field, strengthening its interaction with the matrix. In this heightened state, shamans could access deeper layers of the matrix, pulling in information or influencing its structure. Whether they were healing someone, predicting the future, or manifesting change, these acts were, in Grinberg's view, evidence of the brain's profound ability to shape reality. Reclaiming our creative power. At its core, Grinberg's synergy theory invites us to rethink what it means to be human. If our brains are not passive receivers but active creators of reality, then we are far more powerful than we realize. Every thought, emotion, and belief shapes the energetic field we project, which in turn interacts with the matrix to construct the world we experience. This understanding comes with a deep responsibility. If we are co-creators of reality, then our choices, what we focus on, what we believe, and how we interact with others have far-reaching consequences. By learning to harness our energetic fields and aligning them with the matrix, we might unlock abilities that currently seem like the stuff of legend. In Grinberg's view, synergy was not just a theory but a call to action, urging humanity to awaken to its creative potential. Through this lens, his work wasn't merely academic, it was a guide to reclaiming the power we've always had but forgotten how to use. Jacobo Grinberg's exploration of neural fields, shamanism, and the hyperfield may remain on the fringes of mainstream science, but its implications are vast. He dared to ask questions that most would shy away from. What if the brain is more than an organ? What if it's a portal to the infinite? His disappearance may have left us with more mysteries than answers, but his theories continue to resonate, inviting us to explore the profound interconnectedness of existence. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.